Welcome back to another special episode of the IRONMAN Insider presented by Martin. I'm Matt Lieto, and we're here at the VinFast IRONMAN World Championship in Kona, and it's Thursday. We all know a lot goes on Thursday. We got the pro panel press conference and the pro meeting, but it's going to go on here both in just a few minutes. And I'm here with the better looking Lieto brother, Chris Lieto.
The one without the mustache. So.
Yeah. You bring your strengths. But what we're doing, we're kind of set up right next to where the pro briefing is and the pro panel. And right now the athletes are in the pro panel. And when they get out, we're going to have a chat with some of the top pros. And then right before the pro meeting starts, we're going to get maybe some other athletes as they get in. And then we'll kind of get into their head a little bit and see where they're at. And then maybe you and I can break down how the race is going to happen. But, you know, we'll do the best we can. But let's see who we can get over to chat with us. Sweet, looks like we've got our first victim of the day, Matt Hanson. What's up, man?
How are we doing?
What's up, Matt?
Good, how are you?
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
So, yeah, talk us through what you just did.
Yeah, just talk a little bit about the race with some of the best in the sport.
There you go.
It's fun to be a part of it. This was my first time doing the press conference, so yeah, not too bad.
Sweet, and got this special invite, obviously because of your abilities here, but also being in the top step of the Pro Series. How's it feel coming in with the target on your back?
Yeah, definitely happy about sitting up front for now. By no means do I think that won't be challenged. Definitely got to go out and execute a good day in order to finish anywhere near the pointy end of it all. There's still a lot of guys in the running.
Sweet.
Good. What are you most excited about at this race coming up? What are you thinking about most?
Honestly, my wife and kid got here last night, so I have a little 7-month-old daughter, and I'm really excited to meet them at the finish line.
Yeah, good.
So, dude, what is so different about this race? And it seems like you're one of those examples of, man, when you first came to this race, I'm like, dude's going to be on the podium to do the thing, but there's something about it that's just so much, it stretches everything.
Yeah, this race is where everybody plans their year around, plans their career around. It's being successful on this island that's going to be in long course triathlon anyways, and that adds a lot of pressure and creates some self-inflicted wounds every now and then, I think.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's a tough course to nail, and every time you're here you learn a little bit, and I've been here a handful of times, so hopefully learned a little bit more and more, and we can get rid of some of those mistakes on race day.
Yeah, and then how do you mentally manage those things from the past coming in today, like letting those things go, or how do you shift that for yourself?
You know, last time I was here in 2022, I learned a lot. I think I was like 45th to the top of Hawai'i, and by the time I got off the bike, because I just stuck to the plan, by the time I got off the bike, I was in the mid-20s and was able to run up into a paycheck at least. And so that was the well-executed day that I've had on the course. But it was a learning experience that you don't have to be at the front of the race all day in order to have a decent day.
Good. Yeah, that's awesome. Dude, thank you. We won't take too much more of your time. We know you've got a lot to do, so appreciate it.
All good. Thank you.
Thanks so much, man. Appreciate it.
Good luck.
Sweet. Looks like we got Ben Kanute. Come on out. Come on over. Let's do it.
All right, here we
Dude,
go.
It's I don't know if I want that stash this close to this stash.
Oh my gosh, you should be talking. Got a fuzzy caterpillar. I've seen less dangerous things out on the path here in Hawaii than on your lip.
There you go. I asked for it. I absolutely asked for it. Dude, it's been great to see you on the island, and people have been asking me about who's ready to go, who's confident, and I'm like, man, the guy who like exudes genuine confidence, not in like a braggadocious way, to me is you. Feeling good coming in?
Thanks. Well, I think you got to back yourself, and past is past, right? It doesn't matter what you've done this year, what you've done in past years. You got to get to the start line with a solid prep, happy, healthy, and ready to go. So, yeah, I think a lot of times in World Champs I kind of fly under the radar, but I love racing at them. I love the pressure that comes with them, the competition, and looking forward to first big dance on the island here.
Well, you're under the radar till the finish line sometimes. Then you get yourself above the radar.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, it's a good way to come into a race.
Yeah.
I love being the underdog. I love exceeding people's expectations. So, yeah, looking forward to just, seeing how I compare and how I go against a lot of the best in the sport. Because nowadays, triathlon's pretty unpredictable. And with big risks comes big rewards or big blow-ups, and that's what we love to see here.
So now this is your first time at the World Championships here in Kona.
Yep.
You haven't had much practice at an Ironman distance. So this is going to be all new for you to a certain extent. How do you prepare yourself, and where do you get that knowledge from, and where are you at in considering risks versus safety?
Right. So, I mean, it's a pros and cons list, right? I think some people might say do 1 or 2 Ironman the year of the World Championship, get your practice in and everything, but doing an Ironman definitely takes something out of you. The build takes something out of you, and so this is probably the only year with how qualification worked for me where I could go in without having to put myself through a full distance race and have that fatigue, the build, and come in fully fresh for the Ironman World Championships. And when I first qualified in Arizona, I was up against some pretty solid guys, but wanted to go and get out of my comfort zone to see what a world championship field would feel like. So I went over to Europe, raced Challenge Roth against all the guys that were based out of Europe. And I feel like that gave me a good indication of what the top level looks like at Ironman racing and, you know, Magnus smashing bike courses and that sort of thing. So I got a pretty decent taste of that. And really here, I think it's, you know, the front pack moves fast. If you're not there, you could be bleeding time. But again, it's like you said, it's risk versus reward, and it's a constant evaluation of, is what we're doing sustainable? Should we go 10 minutes longer and see how it goes? Do I back off here to save it for the second half of the race? And I think everybody's going to be going through those types of situations in their head as the race plays off. And yeah, you just have to trust your gut and go with your kind of racecraft, your intuition. And in past races, I'm pretty confident in my racecraft overall. But yeah, I mean, if you want to win, you gotta take some big chances. And yeah, I'm prepared for the risks that come with that.
Awesome. Yeah, and I love that you brought up racecraft, because I think, you know, we talk about, or people have been talking pre-race about, you know, the Uber cyclists and the people that are going to be at the front, and that your name doesn't come up in like the Uber cyclist conversation. Mm-hmm. But when I talk to people and we're talking about that, I'm like, yeah, but Ben is a racer, right? He's going to be up there, and you will adjust. And I will not be surprised if you come off the bike with those Uber cyclists. What is it about your training that allows you to have more staccato ability and to be able to kind of change pace to be that racer? You can't just decide you want to be a racer and go with moves, right?
Right. I think in the training, we've looked at the demands of racing, from whether it's middle distance up to long distance, because people are pretty open nowadays too about the race dynamics, you know, maybe watts that they're pushing or what the dynamics are like. So you can learn a lot by watching the race as well as being in them. And we've tried to prepare for what the demands of this course kind of traditionally are. And, you know, you got your box of matches, right? And when I'm out there, I know like each surge, you might be lighting a match a little bit, but it's that pros and cons. Like if I can hold that wheel and know, hey, they might settle down in this section if you just hold a little longer. Or if I'm pushing, you know, 320 to 340 for this first hour, those guys, if I'm sitting fourth, fifth wheel, those guys are pushing a lot extra, and they're going to pay for that as well. So yeah, my training, we've just been putting a lot of focus on the bike, and that's similar to what we did going into St. George as well, and was able to hold on to guys like Christian and Magnus, and a lot of strong cyclists, Freddie Funk. So here it's similar, and I think it's more of a war of attrition though, where you have to kind of be ready to stick in, dig in, and suffer for a while as people slowly pop off. Because yeah, if you're just doing these massive surges all day, like it's not sustainable. So it's just trying to keep things even, efficient, and save that energy for the very last hour.
Sweet, sweet. I mean, a guy that can suffer, I know it's you, and we've seen you shine on the toughest courses, so no doubt you can shine out here in the lava fields. Thanks, man.
Thanks.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, love having a little bit of a gritty race, right?
Yeah.
Might be ugly, but that's what we come out here for, right?
Yeah.
Bare the soul a little bit.
If it's a tough day, money on you is probably a pretty good idea.
Thanks, appreciate that.
Awesome. Thanks for coming in, man.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That shit.
Cool. Okay, we got another one of our best athletes here this weekend, Daniel Bækkegård. Bækkegård.
Come on.
He tried to tell me how to say it right, and I knew I was going to mess it up. Bækkegård, right? That's how you're actually supposed to say it.
Yeah.
But he advised me just to say Bækkegård, which is what I should stick with.
Always the American way. That's how we do it. Also in Europe. We look up to you guys.
I love it. Dude, so excited to see you back on the island. I know you're excited to be here, and you've got a calmness about you. Is that true?
That's a big word. I do not really know what it means.
You don't know what calmness means?
No,
No.
not really.
Yeah,
I
they
do
got
feel
there.
like you've been.
I've never heard it before.
No, like chill. Like you're chill.
Calmness.
Yeah.
I thought it was something else.
Yeah. Very good.
Yeah, I think I know where I'm at physically, and I also, I have my best friends here, chilling, and we live out in Bækkegård. It's just, I've had such a good time, and I think it's the perfect trip. Like
Right.
3 amigos on the road, enjoying Hawaii and making epic content, doing epic sessions. It's cool.
That does actually like change things, though, right? Like it yeah.
100%.
And when you look back at your career, like I certainly do, and it's like those experiences I had with my buddies, a lot of them kind of in the same zone you're talking about, and it takes all that like stress of preparation away, and you're just like bros doing it.
Yeah, exactly. And one thing is also when I came here the first time and also the second time I stayed in here, and it's awesome because you need that kind of Kona experience. But I also feel like the past 2 times I've been too stressed out in race week and leading into the race, because there's just so much stuff to experience and see, and like I've also been here alone, so I haven't had any support crew or anything, and it's just been nice for me to have that, and I've understood like what I actually need in terms of being there on race day and able to perform as well. And I think that's this year I'm here for a good result and a good shot at it.
Yeah.
And, that's in some way that just makes me calm.
And so now that you have the calmness leading in to the race and having a different perspective or approach going into it, how is that approach, or what does it look like on race day? How do you manage once you're going and you're in the swim and managing the way that you used to do things? Is it going to be the same, or are you shifting how you view the race unfold?
I think actually a lot of it is just the same. To be honest, my approach on race day doesn't really change. Like I'm still a racer, and I don't want to change the race I go into races, but I think the more races you do on like the highest level, the more like accustomed you also get to kind of how to not act on immediate emotions and stuff like that, but act according to your race schedule. And I think that's the biggest thing I've learned, to like act on control what I can control. Basically the same as I do in training, it's just reversed a little bit in terms of being on race day. So just bringing it is triathlon. Like you're not supposed to do anything else than you do day in and day out. It's just to change perspective a little bit and then execute on race day.
Yeah, I mean,
like this year. Sorry, Matt. One last thing that I've noticed is that this time around in the races that I've seen you before, the night before you usually shave and cut your hair. But you've actually done it a couple days before, so the approach is slightly different.
And that's definitely because I've been too freaking stressed out in the week leading up to the race that I just sit there the day before and like, fuck, I also forgot to shave my legs and
totally,
and everything. So
that's the worst.
It's just I have no stress this time. So
that's hilarious. Well, we were talking to Ben Kanute just a second ago about having good race IQ. You're an athlete that has great race IQ, and our memory is short in Ironman racing. And last couple times you've run 2:37 off the bike, and if you got race IQ to be at the front when that happens, some good stuff might happen, huh?
I mean, I just had the discussion with my coach on the way out here. Like, it's funny how I think the bike segment is like blown completely out of proportions. Obviously, it's extremely important and all that stuff, but like last year, Patrick, he ran into second.
Yeah, from way back.
From way back.
Yeah.
And like, if you look at the results list, Joe Skipper, he came off the bike last time we were here. I don't even know if it was 20 minutes behind or 30 minutes behind or whatever, and ran himself into fifth.
Yeah.
So it's like the race is made on the bike, definitely, but it comes down to the run. And I think people also have to remember that. and then we'll see on race day what how it unfolds. And I would be stoked if I could run to 37 on Saturday.
Well, I'm betting on it, so you better do it.
Cool.
Awesome, man.
I'll do it.
Thanks so much. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Really excited to watch you race. Looking forward to it.
Thanks a lot, man.
Yeah, good luck.
Looks like we got another athlete. One of the athletes, honestly, I've been talking up the most this week coming in is Matt Burton. Come on in, buddy. Good to see you.
Good to see you again.
What's up, Matt?
How are you, man?
Good to see you.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was lucky enough to go down to Cairns
Yeah.
and see this guy on
We let you win.
Epic. They did. It took some finagling. We had to get the tourism board involved to let me actually in the country. But this guy ripped legs and did so in an inspirational way. And we're excited to see you out here on the Big Island, man.
Yeah, it's been great. It's it almost feels like home. You know, when you return here, nothing tends to change too much. It's really nice. It's like where I'm from on the west coast of Perth. It's the same, right? You leave for months, you come home, nothing's changed. So it's
That's rad.
yeah, it's been really good. Almost a month now. But yeah, like we've heard a lot of people speak about the wins. We've had a lot of lucky years here, I reckon. And then, you know, what I've seen the last month's been some epic days. You know, I would favour myself to be able to handle most conditions, but there was a few days where even I was a little uneasy on some of the the faster rollers. So everyone always says, "Oh, you hope it's like that," but you don't want to fear for your life, you know. But
No.
hey, we'll risk it.
Yeah. Well, you've got one really good cyclist on this panel that's had great experience in the race. So if you want to ask him any questions, pick his brain. He's had some pretty good bike splits out here.
He's the smartest guy too, because he's the one guy ever. This was his home ground advantage. I'm a big believer in it. Right, you see a lot of sporting teams across all coasts never really go well when they travel, and it's the one. This is why Hawaii is so special, because no one other than yourself over the years has really called it home.
Yeah.
So it's
Have you spent a lot of time here? You said you were here for 4 weeks?
Yeah.
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 And how's that experience been? Have you feel like it's more like home for you?
yeah, it's been the same condo that I've stayed in. This is my 5th time here, so that feels like home. And I mean, I just love how every day is so unique though. Like you go out on the road and the changing of the road's going the same direction, but the winds will act in such a different way.
Yeah.
You know, I would love to be in your shoes and live here, and you would get so strong, like, you know, and so you'd be so accountable all the time on longer rides, you know, and to deal with that, like, we'd call it boredom, but like I never listen to music when I ride, or, you know, I like to be in my own head. So
Yeah.
there's just something about you know, of course the ride's going to be hard on the weekend. Everybody wants to push that and be off the bike first, but like, you know, you got to pick your moments, right?
Yeah. What's the section of the course that you're most excited about, and what kind of condition do you want to experience in that section?
From between us, from Waikoloa to Kauai on the way out, there's been a few days where it's been really, really gusty off the mountain, off the volcano. So yeah, I think that can unsettle the nerve a little bit. And then what I've experienced is you're on the climb to Hawaii, you're into that real block headwind for a while, and then ideally you want, when everyone really starts to fatigue, is that last, or look at one another a bit more if there's bunches, there's groups, is that last 60k coming home. So if there is a headwind, like head cross, ideally that's the moment where I'm happy to be alone. You know, I'm not saying alone at the front, that's a nice thought. You know, I've still had this vivid image of you with that chopper, you know, solo. It's like, if I could one day live that, just for a moment, you know. It's but yeah, you know, at home it'll be 7 a.m. in the mornings, you know, 6 a.m. in the morning. So if my son and my wife want to see me, I need to get out the front, right?
Yeah.
Well, you've got the ability for it. And one thing, I mean, we talk about inspiration and like the sport, you're in your own head for a long period of time. And to me, why, like, I mean, I got goosebumps and tears in my eyes when you cross the finish line in Cairns, and knowing, you know, I think it was January, February, but early in the year, there was a moment you had the bone infection and you're within hours of thinking of amputation. And now you're here talking about trying to be at the front of a world championship. How much does knowing what a low of lows feels like coming into a race like this?
I've actually thought about it a lot since I've been here, because I'm here. I've just been here with my coach. So when you're away from your family, you got, I guess, more time to be selfish. But everyone looks for these moments in life that change your mindset. And I didn't ask for this moment at the start of the year where it was all an unknown as to what was going to happen, you know, with my foot and with my career in the sport. But it's really just channeled to enjoy every race like it could be the last. You know, without putting all your eggs in one basket, I quite like that approach. It's very much an age group approach, you know, from I started in that. So, all I ever wanted to do was race here and race well at an elite level.
Yeah.
I didn't finish 2 years ago, so just the opportunity to be back here it was so nice landing a month ago.
Yeah.
And it'll be sad to leave, but also family's at home, so.
Wow. Man, we're excited to watch it, and it is proven scientifically happier athlete, the faster athlete, and no
I've
doubt
had such a good time.
you're going to be fast out there, man.
Thank you.
Appreciate you
Thanks
so much.
for having me.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Well, you never know who you're going to run into, and we've got one of the influencers of the best in the sports. Not as an influencer, you know, but an influencer. We got Richard Laidlow here.
Hey,
How's it
nice
going,
to meet
man?
you. Good to meet you.
Pleasure to meet you.
Good to see you. And you. Yeah.
Man, how cool is it to be here? And like, I mean, honestly, one of the best things about 2 years ago, and obviously last year, was like seeing this familial journey come to where it is. And you know, he laid it out there 2 years ago, and now he's coming in as the hands down favorite. Like, how does that feel, man?
Yeah, I wouldn't say the hands down favourite.
Yeah.
He's the reigning champion at the moment, but it's a strong field this year. It's a super strong field.
Yeah.
He's in really good shape, probably the best shape he's ever been at.
Yeah.
And so we've just got to really hope that everything runs his way on race day. There's always a little bit of luck within what happens in the race, but the race dynamics. But it's going to be a really, really close and tough race, I think, for all of them.
Yeah, and how do you balance that? Like, obviously that's very well said, but do you balance that analytical side and the coach side and the like dad side that just wants his son to do good?
Yeah. I mean, it's difficult. I mean, we've worked together for properly for about 5-6 years.
Yeah.
So it's we have a work relationship and we have a parent-son relationship.
Yeah.
And it works really well. I mean, I like to facilitate any of my athletes, and that's what I'm there for. Sam, I'm there for my athlete. I'm not there to dictate to him what he's doing. I'm there to actually make life easier.
Yeah.
If he says, Dad, I want to be able to do this. Actually, no, he goes, Rich, I want to do this. Or if it's not, it's Dad, I want to do this.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so we keep it split, and it's brilliant. It's really good. I mean, obviously we have Jake as well now, who's sort of going to sort of focus on triathlon.
Yeah.
So it's a really good dynamic.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's been really great to watch you guys interact. You know, me being a dad, and my son now is actually doing this race for his first time.
Yes,
his
that's
first
right.
time,
Yeah.
So there's nerves that come along with that, and me coaching him as well.
Yeah.
That dynamic of being dad and coach is so hard sometimes when.
It is. Yeah. I mean, it is for me and Sam. It was probably about sort of 6 months to a year where we used to butt heads against each other every so often.
Yeah.
But then it's like sort of, he's the boss. He's the athlete.
Yeah.
I'm here just to help him.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so if he comes up with an idea, I will look into that idea and come out. Okay, no, we're going to do this. We'll do this. We'll do this. I'm not a dictator. There's no point. I don't think any sort of coaching relationship. And I think that's one of the problems when you have dad and son.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're used to telling them what to do as children, and then suddenly you can't really.
Relationships change, right?
Yeah,
as a
absolutely,
dad, there's a dad early
Yeah.
on in stage, and then as you grow, it's
Yeah.
more of like mentor or
Yeah,
advisor.
absolutely, yeah.
Things like that.
Yeah.
I'm curious, out on course, if he's having a good day or not so great day, what are the things that you think you can speak to him on course that will either turn him around or encourage him? What are those things you say?
Normally, again, normally I don't. Normally, Sam sort of, if he's having a bad day, he's having a bad day. There's no point in sort of trying to push that through. If he's having a good day, then I'm there to actually keep him going and keep him relaxed. I think it's been. I've said it a few times on camera where it was like sort of keep relaxed, push at the same time. It's like sort of it's a very difficult situation.
Yeah.
And actually in the race moment, it's what's going on in his head that we've got. If your dad is shouting at you something, you're just going to ignore it anyway, aren't you? You're just going to push it away. But from a coaching perspective, it's just he's done his numbers, he's doing what he's meant to be doing. Yeah, and realistically through the race, I can't really do anything until after I've actually seen that data from a coaching perspective.
Right. Yeah. And so this year, you know, people are talking about, and you've said it's such a competitive field.
Yeah.
And, you know, obviously a lot of very talented athletes coming in. You can see the start list behind us. What do you think is going to be the X factor or the part of the race that's really going to make or break? Is it going to be overbiking or overrunning early? What do you think it's going to be?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be very, very difficult to say. Really, for me, it comes down to the bike and how the bike actually comes apart.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. If it's an easy day with the 12-meter rule, then there's going to be a lot of people working together in that. If it's a hard day for the winds will break those people up.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's previewed to be quite a windy day when we get out to Hy-Vee, so that'll be quite an interesting perspective to see how both Magnus and Sam sort of react with the others to try and break up what's actually happening behind them. I mean, Patrick and everybody sort of knows that he's sort of in the past he's raced and he's sort of hidden away and then run really hard. Yeah. And obviously for Sam and for Sam and Patrick, that's not Sam and Magnus. That's not the goal. The goal is to make this race hard as you possibly can, as quick as you possibly can. Yeah. So awesome. I hope that Sam will do what he normally does, and sort of really sort of whip the bike up and then sort of relax into a nice rhythm and really try and elongate the whole field.
Awesome, man. Well, we appreciate you coming down and sitting with us and getting a little bit of you. And man, you guys look a lot alike in the eyes. It's kind of
no, the eyes. That's all right. No, he hasn't got a grey beard yet.
Not yet. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, great.
Thank you. We've got a very special guest up next who's here mingling with all of our best athletes, and that's Scott DeRue. What's up, Scott?
Hey, Matt.
How you doing, man?
Good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you.
Chris, good to see you. Absolutely.
Dude, another world championship, just a little bit different conditions.
A little different conditions, but what a beautiful, beautiful environment that we're in. We couldn't ask for better weather.
Yeah.
And you can feel the energy here in Hawaii and Kona. It's incredible.
Yeah, and first time here at the Kona Ironman World Championships, but also first time coming as a 70.3 finisher.
That is
Congratulations.
True. Yeah, no, I appreciate it. I wanted to immerse myself into the sport. I didn't come to IRONMAN Group as a triathlete.
Yeah.
Endurance sports, yes,
yeah,
but not triathlon. And I wanted to experience it like our athletes, like a first timer, like an age grouper. And it's also just, I love this community. I want to be a part of it. And so I was incredibly honored to get to the start line and grateful to get to the finish line.
Yeah. And looking at these conditions, I know you're been around the course a bit. Do you have that much more respect now for a race like we're gonna have on Saturday? Like I know that was hard. 70.3s are hard. Now you have like a better idea what these athletes are doing?
Yeah, I have, I think, some sense of what these athletes are doing.
I'll take that.
But we had the Parade of Nations a few days ago,
Yeah.
and we've got 2,400 athletes from 85 different countries all coming together with one common dream, one shared belief that anything is possible. And we're walking down a Lee Drive, and it was the first time where I started to get I'll get cold chills thinking about it right now. Obviously the Ironman sort of origin story is here in Hawaii.
Yeah.
And it was the first time walking down a Lee Drive where I really got a feel for the history, the tradition, and how special this place is to the Ironman community. Like intellectually, you know it,
right,
but it was the first time where emotionally I could feel it.
Yeah.
And that's been one of my big takeaways this week, is just how special this place is to this community.
Yeah, how do you manage between coming in, looking at as far as direction, how to improve or how to shift or how to just continue to grow, and with a business mind, but at the same time experiencing it for the first time, and like you said, feeling the magic and feeling the emotion, living in both of those spaces at the same time. How are you going to manage that?
Yeah, for me, they're actually symbiotic.
Okay.
And what I mean by that is the commitment that I've made coming in is that everything we do is going to be athlete first.
Yeah.
So how do you make that happen? You immerse yourself into the athlete community. You listen, you learn, you understand their experience. And through those insights, then you can identify where we can continue to amplify what we do well and make improvements where we're not perfect.
Yeah.
And no organization's perfect. We all have, no individual's perfect, no athlete's perfect, right? We can always get better.
Yeah.
That's what being an Ironman is about, right? Is getting better. And so for me, it's about experiencing it with our athletes, with our community, listening and learning from our community, and really using those insights to shape where we're going as a business. And if we put the athlete first, everything else takes care of itself.
Yeah, no, I think that's very well said. And so you've had the experience as an athlete, you've had the experience at the World Championship in Nice.
Yep.
What part of the race or your experience are you kind of most excited about for this Saturday?
I think I'm most excited about 2 points in the race.
Yeah.
And this will probably seem a little cliche-like.
We're all about cliches.
Okay. The start
Yeah.
and the finish.
Yeah.
The start, because those 2,400 athletes, for so many of them, this has been a lifelong dream. And they've already won getting to the start line.
Yeah.
Right? This has been their journey, right? And so to honor those athletes at that start line is something that I'm really excited about. Then the finish line, of course, being part of whoever the next Ironman World Champion is going to be, being a part of that experience is going to be special, right? And that was certainly true in Nice. When Laura crossed that finish line, to have the opportunity to share that moment with her, to share it with all the fans and spectators from around the world, that's special. Chris, you know what that feels like, right? But also at 1 a.m.
Oh, yeah.
You know, when Jamie from Tallahassee, Florida, crossed that finish line at 1 a.m. as the last athlete to cross that finish line, that too is incredibly inspiring and special.
Oh, that's life-changing stuff for sure.
It is life-changing.
Yeah.
And it's not only life-changing for the athlete, it's life-changing for us, right?
Yeah.
And so that's the start and the finish. For those reasons, I'm really excited. Now, to be fair, when I go up in the helicopter and see the course and get to follow the leaders and the like, that's gonna be pretty special too.
I was gonna call you out if you didn't mention the helicopter, so yeah, no, that's good. Well, we appreciate it. We know you got a lot going on this week, and know that I have seen, and you can tell this genuine nature that everything you're saying, that you do want to immerse yourself in that athlete experience, and we see it and we appreciate you for it.
Yeah, Matt, appreciate you.
Yeah,
Appreciate it.
Thanks so much.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome that we were able to chat with those athletes, had some of the best guys and different vibes. Anybody stand out to you?
Bækkegård.
Yeah.
Bækkegård.
I'm sorry.
No, looking forward to seeing him race and the way his approach is now. It's kind of nice to see him relaxed and calm. So, yeah, look forward.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's one, I mentioned when we were chatting with him that I think the memory of the sport and certainly the media in the sport is like very short, right? I mean, he won Ironman Western Australia not that long ago, but about a year ago, ran 237, and the year before that, Israel, 237. He just hasn't raced that much, but the last time he was here, I called him as a podium pick and nobody thought it was crazy. And there's no reason to think he's degraded as an athlete. He's gotten better.
100%. Yeah, and it's wild because the attention is so short term now with Instagram and media that if you're not forcing yourself into the media to a certain extent, then people will forget you to a certain extent. And he has been quiet, both in social and just in presence. So it's really good to see him come in. He looks really fresh. His face looks good, just everything looks good, his mannerisms and everything. And he's one that, you never want to rule out. And he's always been on my top picks. And it's just been frustrating to see him at some of the big events that he's just fallen short, things have happened. So hoping to see him kind of come through and have
Yeah, and that's why I wanted to sit down and be in this position to get some of the great athletes, but athletes like I wasn't able to sit down and have, a podcast with necessarily. And two of those, Ben Kanute and Matt Burton, are other athletes that Matt Burton, and especially the way he chats, you can feel his calmness. Like, he is one of those guys that could ride himself up and run himself into the top 5. And it's a regional thing. Everybody in Asia Pacific knows exactly who Matt Burton is and exactly how strong he is, but we don't necessarily do so. And then Ben Kanute, he qualified 2 years ago. 2 years ago at Ironman Arizona, right? So, let's see if we can break down the race a little bit. I don't know. We have these conversations in the car and stuff, and sometimes it gets heated, so we'll see if we can keep it under control. But first off, let's say, how different is racing here than it used to be? Like, I feel like when you first started, and, I was racing as well, we were, looked at history and figured out, okay, you got to, race this thing, 5 times just to figure it out, and then you can like start racing hard. And then after like there was a period where it was like nobody won until they had raced like 6 or 7 times or something, right?
Yeah, but there's always been a couple guys the first time out.
Every now and again,
Yes.
right? But now it seems like that, like nobody's given that 5 years, like it's different. Why has that changed, do you think, in the last 15 years?
I think a lot of it is just knowledge and wisdom. In as far as preparing, because there's so much more data sources to pull from and to draw from to be able to assess like what do I need to change and what do I need to shift going into a race. So I think that's a big piece of it.
Yeah, and I mean, I think it's, I think that's spot on, right? Like, I think those 5 years to like figure it out was like you being like, oh, my body is going to die if I do this, right? Or like I'm going to come apart, I'm going to be walking if I do this. Where if you have that knowledge by having a swallowable thermometer in your training, you like know that I can run this pace before I overheat, and that's just an advantage that these guys have. But they're still like putting the side benefit to that, and why they're racing so fast is that they're just like throwing these long bombs and they're just racing from the beginning, right?
Well, yeah, like you were saying, knowledge is experience. And so there's experience where you're actually out there doing it and testing it, and then knowledge is also experience. And so you can take both of those, and they can be more confident in how they race and how they perform by looking at their numbers and the data that they've done in training and from other resources and stuff. And so it's easy to go, okay, science says, or data says that I can hold this power. Yeah. And they're so hungry for the win and hungry to risk it that they're also willing to risk it and go beyond those to a certain extent. And some of them actually will follow through and do extremely well, and some will crack and will learn and need to come back 2 or 3 years later to be able to, repeat it or try it again. And there still is space for the new guys like Ben. He's had a couple Ironmans, but he's never experienced Kona. He's never experienced the heat. What it is, he's come and trained here. But as you and I know, it's very different to train here than it is to race here and actually be in that discomfort.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, way different. And I think to qualify, Chris, for those who haven't looked at the history books, but second place, was it 2008, 9?
2009.
2009. But back then, you had the bike course record. I don't think it was that year, but it was what, 4:18?
Yeah.
4:18 was the bike course record. And what was your finish time when you were second place?
8:23.
8:23. And that's like...
And I lost by 2 minutes. So
yeah.
It's like, yeah.
And it was like, and you ran a 3:01. And we knew you needed to run just under 3:01 or just under 3 hours to win the race. So like, that's how different it is. Last time we were here, 7:40, right? It is bananas that it's literally, how many guys rode under 4:18 the last time we were here, right? So like the technology's changed, all that's changed, but like in that period of time, that's only 15 years, we've taken, 15 minutes off the fastest bike ride ever guys are riding, and everybody is running 2:45 if they want to be a competitor.
Yeah. And you have a lot of that as technology base, a lot of it is fitness. You look at what they're doing training wise, it's similar. But again, the data of, let's say, just carbs versus calories. Back then, we used to evaluate calories for fuel because we didn't know how to calculate carbs. Now it's about carbs as far as consumption. And then just as far as technology, just the front end of the bike is so different now than what it was. Save 10 watts here, 8 watts here, 15 watts there, and it's like all these things just got added up, and you're saving 40 watts to a certain extent. And then as well as the running with technology, the new shoes and all that stuff. So all those things just compounding, adding up, as well as the conditions. Starting earlier, less wind in most cases, just because of the way the trades and the winds blow here in Hawaii. Hawai'i is an area where the winds can be very severe and very strong, but they usually don't start picking up until about 9 or 9:30. So now that the race starts at 6:20, they can sneak through all that and get up and back before the wind picks up. But you never know. Every year could be different. This could be the year that could be extremely windy. And it's interesting to hearing that the talk of like the last 3 or 4 years, times have been so fast that it's almost expected it to be that fast.
Yeah.
But something could shift. It could be 30 minutes different. They could go back to an 8:15 here or something like that for a win. You just never know.
For sure. And I think if that happens, you're going to see a lot of athletes thinking it's this outlier and this crazy thing, right? And like sometimes that's hard mentally as an athlete to trust yourself. No, this is like, this is different, but this is normal. This isn't like a catastrophic experience. It's just like that's what the winds do out here sometimes, right? Yeah. It's crazy. So onto the race. Like what, we can go through swim, bike, and run, but also different. Like last time we had a 20-man group out first. Like how much does that change the dynamics of the swim than it used to be, and then like going into the early sections of the bike?
We've been having 20 guys coming out of the water together and riding together from the get-go. Yeah, I mean, it seems like yeah, I don't know. It's going to be really curious to see how that unfolds in the beginning, to see if anyone's going to try to break it up right away. Because I think if that is a group of 20, there are a couple guys in there that want to get away from that group pretty darn quick.
But like all those 20 can ride really hard for as long as for the first couple hours, right?
Right. And that's where it's what is your game plan? What are you willing to risk? And ideally sticking to your plan for the most part. But it becomes more tactical. Like a lot of the conversations I've been having this year around the ones that could potentially win this race, and there's a lot of them that are in there that could surprise some people and stuff, is just this tactical aspect to it. And I'm excited to see how those tactics unfold, because if it is a group of 20, that's going to adjust some people's tactics where they weren't expecting that. So just curious to see how it unfolds.
And how does that, like, what do you see happening kind of where it matters on the bike course this year? Like, are we gonna be talking about Sam and Magnus, or are we gonna be talking about a Robert Callan or a Hogan Hogg or a Matt Burton riding through the field?
Well, it's really interesting because that first part of the bike, if there is a large group, and most people, like you said, can push watts for the first 2 hours. And so coming up with what do we talk about in there is usually the ones that are at the front of the race that are pushing that pace of that group, that are trying to dictate what happens. But everyone can do that. And so it's a 4-hour, bike segment for the most part, and a lot can change in between that. The biggest part that's going to matter is from Hawai'i home. And for honestly the last hour of the bike ride is where the things are going to fall apart. So it'll be curious to see who's going to be patient and conserve themselves and look to others to try to dictate instead of trying to dictate themselves.
And on the run, we see any like X factors out there people we're not talking about, or we think it's going to be a battle of a Laidlow and a Ditlev and a Christian?
Yeah, I would love to ask you that same question, but there's a few that can come up, like Bækkegård, he has that run ability. You got Ben as far as Kanute, that he may not be in that front group on the bike on the way home. If those guys are trying to rip it and separate themselves, they can come through from behind a little bit. You got Gustav that is not as fit as he has been in the past, with really not an expectation to win, but an expectation, I think, to conserve himself and race really smart. And I think if he does that, he could run in through the field and pick people off. Because that's what happens is so many people look at coming off the bike as where you're placed and how you approach the rest of the day. But so much of it is still such a big day, and a lot of things can change. You can be 20 minutes behind and you can run your way up to the front, to the top podium potentially. And it's just a matter if you're willing to push yourself and suffer, or if you've done nutrition well, or if you pace yourself well on the bike. There's so many factors to this thing. An 8-hour day is a long day.
Right, and it's not an X factor, obviously, but Patrick Lange, you can never count that guy out.
Of course, yeah, absolutely.
Well, we know you've got the local insider info. Any weather conditions we should be ready for?
Well, it is Thursday, and so we have 2 more days. I purposely haven't looked at the weather too much yet, because the weather can change within 8 hours or 12 hours. So a lot of times I just wait till the day before to really evaluate what's going to happen. I heard there's going to be some rain potentially midday, which could bring some wind as well.
Some humidity.
There's always humidity, but yeah, a little bit more. Yeah, when it rains, a little bit of those clouds run in. The thing that's going to be the fear is if the clouds roll in and it may try to start to rain and then pull back, which happens a lot.
I've raced on one of those years, and it's gnarly.
It's super steamy, and that can wreck a lot of people. It's a whole new element. I mean, people have been here for a week, they've been here for a month, and every day, you can ask all of them, it's like every day is unique and different. There's a different approach every day. There's days that it feels really cool out there on the bike, and there's days it feels miserably hot or windy or calm or tailwind or headwind. And then on the run, it's humid on Ali'i or hot and stifling on the highway or windy. You never know what's going to bring in. It can change 3 or 4 times within the day.
And we've been asking the athletes this question, and no better person to ask than someone who lives on the island. Talk to the old timers like Mark Allen and stuff, and he talks about the X factor. There's this part of everything that adds up in this race and the conditions and the athletes that is not quantifiable about the race here in Kona. Is whether it's a spiritual thing, or the island has this energy, or it's just all the best athletes in the world. What do you think the X factor is that makes this race so special and so difficult?
It's the caliber of the athletes that are showing up, and they're so much fitter showing up in October than they're showing up at an Ironman in May or June. Just that X factor of growth of fitness is exponential. And someone who's coming to this for the first time, that's a disadvantage to them of not having the experience of realizing how much higher the caliber shows up on a day like a day like now, and looking at as far as the X factor of experience. It is the energy, it's the mystique, it's the want to have the honor of being that champion, or to be up in the front, or to get the podium. Everything just is always built up to this day. And what I think it comes down to is this story and the beliefs that people have that's going on in their mind while they're out there racing. You know, when they're racing and they're thinking about, oh, an expectation that this should be a 7:40 or a 7:50 time of a victory, and it turns into an 8:15 because of conditions they're not used to. What are they telling themselves about that experience? Are they blaming themselves for looking at themselves as not stepping up to the plate, or not being as fit as they thought they were? Or are they allowing the environment to dictate and just going along with the flow, letting go, being relaxed, and just being confident in whatever the day is bringing you, and then not worrying about everybody else? And so I think that nervousness, that anxiety, that anxiousness, the pressure that they put on themselves or from external pressures, and just the island itself and the conditions, there's a lot of things to manage more than any other race in the world.
Yeah, that's why we see so many explosions and tough days out there, but that's also why we see the athletes in such ecstasy when they come down Elite Drive.
100%.
Yeah, it's best finish line in the world. Well, dude, thank you so much for sitting down and chatting. Appreciate it. And thank you all for listening to another special edition of the IRONMAN Insider podcast presented by Morton. I'm Matt Lieto, and we'll see you out there on race day.